null space of A. So pick a vector null space of A transpose A. Yeah, pick a vector in the null space of A transpose A, and yeah, then A transpose AZ is 0 because I picked a vector in the null space of A transpose A. I want to show that this Z is in the null space of A. Okay, this Z is in the null space of A. So look at this vector AZ. AZ is in the column space. AZ is in the column space of A, and A transpose AZ is 0 means AZ is perpendicular to every row vector of A, because the row vectors, the A transpose times AZ equal to 0 means AZ is perpendicular to every row vector of A, but the row vectors of A transpose are the column vectors of A, and so therefore this AZ is in the column space of A. It is perpendicular to all the columns of A, and therefore it is in the perpendicular space subspace of column space. But we have proved that W intersection W perp is only the 0 vector. So AZ is 0. So therefore W is 0. So therefore so if W is 0, AZ is 0, and therefore Z is in the null space, and therefore null space of A, and A contains the null space of A transpose A. So these two null spaces are equal, and therefore the nullities are equal. So nullity of A is nullity of A transpose A. Now you substitute A by A transpose. We know that nullity, the rank of A transpose and rank of A they are same. Yeah. So this also shows that rank of A transpose A is rank of A, and rank of A is rank of A transpose, simply by substituting A by A transpose and using the fact that A and A transpose have same rank. Okay. So we have proved here that the rank of A is rank of A transpose. It is also rank of A transpose A. Okay. Yeah. A transpose is a nice matrix. It is symmetric. A transpose A is also a symmetric matrix. So starting with a very random matrix, we have produced another matrix which is symmetric. Yeah, and its rank is the same as the rank of A. Okay, this we will see later. This idea is very useful. Okay, so let us see as a consequence of this that A transpose A, which is M by M matrix, is invertible if and only if columns of A are linearly independent. So A was a tall matrix, right? A was a tall matrix, N by M. Okay, it has M columns. So this says that if the column vectors of A are, I mean the rank of A cannot be bigger than the number of columns, because number of columns is smaller than or equal to number of rows. So column rank is the rank of the matrix, and if the columns are linearly independent, then A transpose A, which is a square matrix, will be invertible if and only if. Okay, this is a simple application of this fact that rank of A is rank of A transpose. So if A transpose A is invertible, it's an M by M matrix. Yeah. So this is an invertible matrix. So its rank is M, but rank of A is rank of A transpose A. So rank of A is also M. So if a matrix has M columns and its rank is also M, then those M column vectors are linearly independent, and vice versa. Okay. So A transpose A is invertible if and only if columns of A are linearly independent. Yeah. So but if the columns of A are linearly independent, then this A transpose A is invertible. Our normal equations were these: A transpose AX equal to A transpose B. To find the best approximation of B in the column space of A, which is AX, we have to solve these normal equations: A transpose AX equal to A transpose B. But if columns of A are linearly independent, A transpose A turned out to be invertible. So I can multiply by the inverse on both the sides and solve for X. X is inverse of A transpose A times A transpose B. So X is uniquely determined, and AX is the projection of B in column space of A. Okay. So normal equations can be solved. There is a unique solution when columns of A are linearly independent. Yeah. Now columns of A, but if columns of A need not be linearly independent. Yeah. Need not be, columns of A are linearly, then the solution of normal equation is unique. But otherwise also there is always a solution. The normal equations A transpose AX equal to A transpose B have a solution in any situation, even if the column vectors are not linearly independent. Okay, let us see why that is so. Yeah, so look at the rank of A transpose A. Okay, I join the vector A transpose B. We are trying to solve the normal equations. So to solve normal equations, we construct the augmented matrix. This is the coefficient matrix A transpose A. I construct this augmented matrix. So when I add these additional column vectors, of course the rank may increase. Yeah, it will not decrease. Okay, so rank of A transpose A is at most the rank of A transpose A transpose B, this augmented matrix. Yeah, but this augmented matrix is A transpose times A transpose B. Okay, so this is rank of A transpose times this, but when I multiply a matrix on the right, okay, the rank satisfies this condition. Rank of AB is less than or equal to rank of A. Okay, use linear transformations to see this fact that rank of AB is less equal to rank of A. So rank of A transpose times this augmented matrix is less than or equal to rank of A transpose, but rank of A transpose is rank of A transpose A. Okay, so therefore this number is equal to this, and therefore we should have equality everywhere. Okay, so the rank of A transpose A is same as rank of A transpose A transpose B augmented matrix. Once the augmented matrix and the given matrix have same rank, if rank of A is same as rank of augmented matrix, this means B is in the column space. Yeah, B is in the column space. B is linearly dependent on the column vectors of A. Once B is in the column space, B equal to some x1 A1 plus m AM, and therefore this is equal to AX. So there is a solution. There is a solution of the normal equations. So normal equations will always have a solution. And once I find this solution by Gauss elimination method or some other method, then X is the solution, X is a solution, and then operate A on X, and you will find the best approximation of B in the column space of A. Okay? Yeah. What is the use of these things? So this is the use to do data fitting. Yeah, when we are presented with a lot of data, we want to draw some conclusions. Yeah, sometimes the data will lie on a straight line. So there will be very simple relations among the data. Okay, sometimes the data will lie on a curve like a parabola or hyperbola. So given the huge amount of data, we want to draw some conclusions, and this is a big branch called data science. And this is a very humble introduction to data science. This is called least square approximation. Okay, least square approximation. So data fitting ultimately is derived from the idea of projection. The idea of projecting a vector in a subspace gives us the best vector in that subspace. And this idea has numerous applications. So I will show you two applications of this idea to data fitting. So data fitting is done by many methods. Least square approximation is one of the favorite methods. Okay, yeah. So suppose that we have a large number of data points xi, yi. Okay, and they are collected from some experiment. So plot these data points in the plane. They have two coordinates. Yeah. Once you plot, many times you will see that they are actually clustering around a straight line. Okay. Visually, you can see once you plot this data that there may be a straight line which fits the data. It will not pass through all data points. Okay. But most of the data points will lie on a straight line. But there may be many straight lines, yeah, which will pass through these data points. We want to pick the best straight line. That means the line which in a sense which I will derive accurately, that the errors will be minimized. Okay, we want to pick a straight line which best fits the data. So how do we do that? So suppose we have a large number of data points xi, yi, and they are collected from some experiment. Okay, sometimes we believe that these data points lie on a straight line. Yeah, so we want to fix a straight line whose equation is s plus tx, and this straight line may satisfy yxi equal to yi. Some of the data will lie on the straight line, some may be away from this straight line. So if all the data satisfy this equation, then of course we have found a straight line, but they may not. Okay, they may not. But always there are some experimental errors, and so these data may not be exactly lying on a straight line. Yeah. So in practice, these points will deviate from the straight line, and it's impossible to find a linear y-axis that passes through all of them. So we want to find the best straight line which passes through these points. Best in the sense that the errors are made as small as possible. When we fit this straight line, the errors from the actual data are minimized. So a natural question that arises now, how do we define the error? Okay, so consider the following system of linear equations in variables s and t, and the known data points xi, yi. Then look at these equations. So if my straight line exactly fit all the data points, all these equations will be satisfied, and then I'm satisfied, and this is the line. Okay, but it may not be the case when I substitute the input measurement xi. I may not get the output. Okay, but I want to measure the difference between this actual value which is predicted by the equation of the straight line with the experimental value y1. So I want to minimize the difference, but the differences could be in either direction. They could be positive or negative, right? So we want to have a method of computing the error in a nice way. Okay, in a nice way. So the errors, we can take the experimental value yi and the predicted value s minus xit, and take the difference and take the absolute value, and we can add these things. This is the sum of the errors. Yeah, but the errors can be constructed like this, that it is yi minus s xit absolute value and add all these errors, or we can take the square of the difference. Yi is the experimental value, and s minus xit is predicted by the straight line model, and I take the difference of the actual value with the predicted value, square this, and add all these squares and take the square root. This is called least square approximation method. This is also a valid method. We could take the max of the deviations from the experimental value and the predicted value. Call this also as an error. Okay, so you fix your definition of error, and then we can get the right fit. Okay, so there's a theory for each types of error, but in practice the least square approximation is preferred. Okay, so we want to find the parameters of the straight line so that this error is minimized. That is the data fitting problem. Find a straight line so that these errors, the sum of squares of these errors and their square root, it is minimized. Okay, so this is a maximize minimize problem. There are two parameters s and t. Of course, you can say, all right, this is a nice equation. I want to minimize the error. Take the partial derivative with respect to s and t, and then use maximize minimize criteria and find s and t. But let us now show that there is a linear algebra method which will actually find the s and t so that these errors are minimized. And so to minimize the error, find the straight line so that these errors are minimized. That is called the least square problem. Okay, that is called the least square problem. So I will continue with this because I think our class time is over, and next time I will show applications of these ideas of best approximation, projection of a vector in a subspace, then how to solve normal equations to data fitting problem. So I will take two examples. One is given a huge amount of data, and suppose you suspect that there is a linear relation among them, how to find the best straight line which fits the data. Sometime the data may fit on a parabola. Okay, for example, if a projectile is there, I take observations at a few time intervals, measure the height of the projectile. I can find the equation of the parabola. Okay, this has many interesting applications in celestial mechanics, and that's where the method of least square approximation was first invented by Gauss. So I will illustrate the least square approximation by fitting a straight line and fitting a parabola to a given set of data points.